knows what will happen on this main stage, but I am ready to find out. Let's head on over to our two incredible casters. Boys, Onset and Bravo, it is my absolute pleasure for the last time in our last major of the season here at Halo Infinite to pass it on over to you. Championship Sunday, baby. Woo. It brings the very best, and I know it brings the best out of you guys.
It certainly does, and it certainly brings the best out of these teams that we have left in this tournament. And what a way to kick things off here on Championship Sunday. Of course, first of all, a warm welcome to everybody, wherever you're tuning in around the world, whether you're at home, whether you're in the venue, or maybe you're looking through your neighbor's window. If you're a bit like that, who knows? We're not getting too deep into that. But let's talk about Optic Gaming. Let's talk about Spacestation, because Optic are here. This is the big thing. The elimination bracket run has succeeded again. They have made it to Championship Sunday after falling down early, and we know what can happen if Optic make it to Sunday.
Exactly, and there's two completely different stories on these two sides of the stage. You just heard the desk talking about Optic Gaming looking to repeat history and make another historic run. On the other side, it's all about how does SSG turn their late game around at the end of the year. And I think you and I were just talking before getting into this series. It feels like for SSG, what they are able to do in this series will be the determining factor. And if we're talking about them as potential World Championship contenders or an afterthought outside of the top three going into the World Championship.
I completely agree. A lot of the conversation before the previous event, the previous major back in SLC was who wins the trade between SSG and FaZe. We were saying FaZe won it, they obviously outplaced them. But Spacestation, we felt it was a long game for them. The focus was on the World Championships, and if you can beat a team who has won majors this year in this elimination bracket matchup, you have to put them in that conversation ahead of Seattle, ahead of the World Championships to be a contender.
That's right, and you heard Eco last night. You might have caught it in the post-game interview after their series win. Eco was just very honest, I think, and kind of very authentic about where they are. He says, we're continuing to get better, right? I think he knows the exact state of the union, where everything is in the big three and the big four. No one on SSG is fooling themselves about the results since the team change. I think they have a very accurate picture of what needs to happen here if they want to move forward. And I think we're going to learn a lot about this team in this series, but I did catch Lunchbox backstage just before the series, and I looked at the game types with him, and I said, it looks like statistically this series layout might go your way, and he said, I think so. They're pretty confident that this will not go to a Game 5.
Yeah, we'll get you to break it down a little bit. We'll talk you through the game types just to start. We're starting off with King of the Hill Recharge, then we go over to Slayer's Solitude, Oddball Livefire, game number 3. Certainly, Optic fans will be smiling to see that one in the middle of the series. Then we have CTF Aquarius and Slayer Origin to close out. But you were doing your research, you were diving into the stats, and what do you make of this one?
Man, yeah, the desk talked a little bit about it, but man, what an interesting series layout. This one could be very interesting, even though they do overall skew towards Optic Gaming. We'll just start with this first one. King of the Hill Recharge is a very, very close game type between these two. Optic Gaming on the year is 4-3. Now, SSG might be 4-4 overall on the year, but most notably, they are undefeated in King of the Hill at Charlotte. So they have turned this game type around. If they could take this game number 1, this will make things very interesting here.
It certainly will indeed. Spacestation Gaming will know it. Optic Gaming will know it as well. And I'm sure there's a lot of people, Spacestation fans, FaZe fans, Shopify Rebellion fans, who are looking at Optic Gaming yesterday, having made it to Sunday today, and going, they can't keep getting away with this. Yeah. Well, Optic are here. Optic have made Championship Sunday, and their next step that they have to go through is Spacestation Gaming.
And one thing we talked about yesterday that you identified so correctly, even starting on Friday, is that when Optic Gaming has to make elimination bracket runs, they get better and better as each game and as each series goes on. And that was certainly the case yesterday. We're underway on Championship Sunday. It's a Spacestation versus Optic Gaming in a do-or-die series in the elimination bracket.
The final major of the year before Worlds, the final Championship Sunday before Worlds, and the final opportunity for the likes of Spacestation to pick up their first trophy of this season. Optic, of course, looking to add another one to the collection. Speaking of which, this man is looking to add a triple kill to his statistics at the start of the game. Eco last alive.
Staggered 4 dead. Not a lot of hill time there, but certainly slaying dominance coming out of Optic Gaming as they get the first 5. Make it 7 kills in the game.
That's ridiculous. Legend had no right to survive that, let alone get out of it with a kill and be able to scarper away with his life to engage again in a few seconds' time. Optic in full control of the map at the moment. One player already stepped inside of that hill. Lqgend's job here is to control glass, control the push that's coming in from gold. His teammates are holding elevator and towards the tower side, trying to provide him with a little bit of crossfire.
Really nice damage in the end. It has translated, by the way, those first set of kills. It's still just 7 kills for Optic Gaming. It has now translated to about 55% of progress. So they are able to convert on quite a lot of the slaying damage.
I will say, really good job though from Spacestation. They essentially broke without taking any deaths. 2 players taken down by Optic. The last 2 decided that they've got to just try and stay alive to get 4 up as quickly as possible. And even though half of that first hill has been captured here on the batteries, Spacestation are inside of this hill. And Suppressed is already finding a couple of bodies that have had the shields ripped away.
Yeah, as you say, the answer back there being outslayed about 8-2 off the opening, and now it's really quite even, and even almost in the hill progress as well, as SSG is able to get about a quarter of the progress on this first hill down.
Bring up here in the hands of Suppressed is going to make that beat down very, very easy for him to convert into a kill. The second one, though, not going to be able to get the fists up quite quick enough. Bound will come out of that one still alive. 2 dead, however, as Bound will eventually fall. And a little bit of a stalemate, a little bit of a fight for Pipes before anyone dares to step inside of that hill.
Formal thought he got maybe a free move into Pipes, but he gets pinched and pinned. And in the end, he will come away with his life, and they actually get the 2 kills. They will continue scoring here. It's a nice move from Formal to create that space.
He doesn't quite connect here from Suppressed, and Renegade is already chasing him down. So Formal, giving the information to his teammates, and having seen Renegade try and push those Spacestation Gaming members away from the hill, decides to just step in for a second. But good shots from Eco will keep this Optic Gaming team having to wait to convert this first hill.
By the way, look at all the progress on the hill. A lot of this is due to Lqgend. Guess what? He might be 3 and 4 right now, but he has 6 assists, almost as many assists as the entirety of SSG.
Very impressive stuff from the Frenchman to start this game off. StelluR's going to get this camo, though. The second power-up of the game goes to SSG.
He's got to go here. He's got to go right now.
And he's got to go quickly. Formal has been taken out inside of the hill. So now Eco can try and get into a position alongside StelluR to defend this hill, and Eco does find that first kill. Shock rifle now in their hands. Not a headshot, but good enough to force Optic back. SSG are holding on here.
Let's see if Formal goes for a move here. He tries to sneak into hill, or they just go for Pipes control first.
Bound's going to get singed. He's not going to get cut down. Now he is, though, at the pass. Trade inside of Turbine. Spacestation with the numbers at the moment. Suppressed does step inside of that hill.
So they get the first 2 picks, but they have to do it at least once more, maybe twice more to win this hill.
Maybe a little bit early morning jitters on those shots coming in from StelluR, not being able to connect. And by doing so, it's allowed Optic to step forward. Optic to finish this hill, and SSG are 3 dead. Not only that, they find themselves 1 down.
Yeah, Optic Gaming strikes first. It was always going to be such a tall order if they wanted to try to turn that around. As we said, it was only going to require about a toe into the hill, and that's exactly what Optic Gaming does. Even though the first one doesn't break, the second one is a very clean one. It feels like if you give Optic Gaming 3 total pushes to get into a hill, they're going to do that at batteries. They now lead 1-0.
3 dead again for SSG. This is a perfect hold. Not only is it a perfect hold, they've won the rotate as well from capping that first hill. And you can see Lqgend, the fact that he's closest to his hill player at the moment, coming under absolutely no fire whatsoever. That's how comfortable this second hill is looking for Optic.
The timing is really tough for SSG because they felt 3 dead all at once, so now they have to wait for each other and push together. But look at the hill. Once again, just a step is all they need, Optic Gaming to lead by 2.
2 dead though for Optic. StelluR will get the 3rd, so Renegade last alive, and he's nowhere near that hill, so it should convert into a little bit of time here for SSG. With how much progress Optic have already made on this hill, 0 mistakes can be made from Spacestation.
Now here for Optic Gaming, StelluR, by the way, getting a lot of information about top gold. They also have Falcated here on glass. We'll see if they can pinch. Watch the kill feed. This will determine if the break happens or if we 3 dead StelluR last player alive. Here they come. Here they come.
Yeah, that answered everything we needed to know. 3 players fall almost instantaneously, and StelluR has to give it up.
That was bizarre to watch from StelluR's POV because you see 3 players top gold, Falcated on glass. Everything looked good on paper, and then they fall like dominoes. Optic Gaming up 2-0.
StelluR probably within his rights to go, guys, after that one. Not going the way of Spacestation, and Optic almost flawless on that second hill. Camo now in the hands of Renegade as well, so after SSG picks up the previous, this one will belong to Optic Gaming. Renegade being sneaky, being stealthy, trying to find a little pick onto SSG, but map control, well, that's all Optics.
By the way, how about Renegade 14-4 and Formal 0-8, and Optic Gaming's playing great? Don't know how to make sense exactly of these stat lines, but Optic Gaming won't worry about it because they are firmly in the lead here. They're going to look to do the same thing on the 3rd hill as well.
And Optic now have earned the right to play this slowly. They don't have to step inside of this hill. They can keep an eye on that game clock as well. As Renegade adds another to the collection. 16 and 4, 3 dead for SSG, and you've just given this man a shock rifle.
16 and 4. Quadruple positive in this game, and dealing damage continually around the map. And now with 121 left on the clock, it feels like if Optic Gaming just even plays half of the game they've been playing, this one should be over pretty quick.
I mean, at the moment, SSG can't get across the map. They can't even get towards tower. They can't get towards gold. They're just getting cut down. They can't even get 50% of the way across the map by the looks of things. And with Renegade just holding these angles, SSG are just being strangled at the moment.
Here's an actual question. With only 60 seconds left on the game clock, does Formal end this game with a great win with 0 kills? It's possible. This is a wild stat line to start off Championship Sunday across the board.
Yeah, I wouldn't have predicted that one. 0 kills with a win. Formal just got taken down as well, so he's 0 and 9 right now, but let me tell you, he could
also
not
have 0
care
concerns.
less. He could not care less if they close this one out. SSG have managed to momentarily break, but yeah, suppressed, unfortunately, with the stick. Kind of gives Renegade an opportunity to turn a single kill into 2.
They're going to likely play time here. 44 seconds, not really a reason to jump in because look at the hill progress for SSG. So with 40 seconds left, Formal gets the trade. Fear not.
He's back.
No longer on Goose Watch. But as we said, more importantly, they've got to be really happy with how they played so far. Now, they do need to clean this out because SSG is finding a little bit of momentum here, and if they get this first kill, this could all of a sudden be a lot more interesting of a game. Renegade's camo should help them close this one out.
Yeah, just should calm things a little bit here. SSG, even if they do cap this hill, there's only 20 seconds or so left in the game, so they would have to pretty much be perfect on the next hill to stop Optic taking this game number 1.
Enemy team took
Renegade
the
now.
Oh boy.
The pings are frantic, the bullets are connecting, and now the pitch from Optic will start.
Here they come. It's going to be 1 by 1. They take these one out, 10 seconds left.
Falcated, no shields. StelluR tries to make a desperation play to get inside of that hill and stop that game clock, but Lqgend will take them down. Spacestation all in the death screen, and Optic Gaming will take game number 1 here in our elimination semi-final. They're up 1-0. Formal's laughing, by the way.
As he should, and Renegade should also be laughing. He is. Smiles across the board, unsurprisingly for Optic Gaming. 21 and 5 for Renegade. And if you didn't catch the weekend so far, all the action that we've seen, Renegade's been doing that every single game. So you'll have to forgive us if we continue to equally lose our minds and also not be surprised
And
about...
also reiterate the numbers,
Yes.
because they don't sound real.
They don't. These. Look at that PGCR. Not every day that you see something like this with a, my goodness.
You know what the comms would have been, by the way? I can almost guarantee at the end of that game, Formal
that's
pipes up
on me.
first. And
That's
just,
on me. Should have gone.
No.
Should have gone.
It would have been the opposite. He would have said something like, "Good shit, guys. Get carried." Like, that's what Formal would have said.
It's also funny too because it's not even a real Goose Watch, right? It's almost a novelty pin of pride to win a game like that with 0 kills. I'm almost kind of upset he didn't decide as a flex to end it with 0 kills. But in the end, despite the wild stat line, it's much more about, as you said, the way that Optic Gaming played this. And I'm not going to lie, as we said, they opened the game outslaying about 8-2. And even though we saw SSG get control of the map thereafter, it felt like that was the tone setter for the game that we were about to see.
Yeah, I think there's going to be a lot of views maybe on the, if we are actually fortunate enough to get the listening back from this game, I would love to hear what was said at the end. It would have been so good. It would have been so good. But what was good was the performance from Optic. This second hill in particular, Andy, was just an example of Optic at their best. It was stifling. It was complete control. It was baiting and switching, use of power weapons from Lqgend. And then when you got a man like this doing what he's been doing on Saturday and bringing that form into today, Optic looking dangerous.
Dangerous indeed, and the slow-mo trade. This is incredible, by the way. Replay operators know what they're doing in the back. By the way, that's the first time we've seen the slow-mo top elevator 1-for-1 trade, I think, in an HCS highlight package, and for good reason. As we said, Renegade goes more than quadruple positive to start the day.
Some may say more than double positive, Andy.
Some may indeed. By the way, Slayer Solitude is your game number 2. Let's talk about this because this one's interesting. In 2025, Optic Gaming is 7-3 on this game type. SSG just 3-3. But more importantly, in Charlotte, it's a similar story as it was in game number 1. Optic is even at 4-4 in Slayer overall. Wow, perfectly timed. Thank you to the entire team in the back. And SSG is 5-2. So quite a different StelluR story. And we've been highlighting for months now about how Optic Gaming needs to focus on their StelluRs. They won a few. They even took a StelluR from Shopify. Harder to say than I expected. But Optic Gaming currently also on a 2-2 win streak. So they're turning that record around. So as has been the case throughout this entire really series layout and will be the case through this entire series, there's arguments for both sides in terms of who can take this game type. The only real exception is going to be that oddball game type, which Optic should take handily. We'll get there, though. First, we got to focus on the Game 2 StelluR. And as I said, both teams either with winning records or momentum. So there's a case to be made for both teams on this game number 2.
Yeah, it's such an important one for SSG as well. You're talking about the statistics that back up what we can expect from this game number 2 historically. But if you're looking at the context of a series, knowing that that oddball is coming up on live fire, which is Optic's game type. You ask them what game type they would have to win a series, regardless, grand final, world championship, you're going to pick live fire oddball.
They play that 5 times.
And exactly, and I think you're looking at the game number 2 with that context. You can't SSG go into that game type that's coming up 0-2 down. Otherwise, the series is more than likely going to swing the way of Optic. So for SSG, the pressure that's on this game type, the pressure that's on this game in the context of the series and the season as well, really cannot be understated here.
Well, luckily still close friends, one Optic fan and one SSG fan. Hopefully, regardless of where the series goes, those two guys will still be hanging out. We'll see if that's the case. We'll keep a close eye on the front row. But, as you say, it was all about games 1 and 2 for SSG. They've already dropped game number 1 without really any semblance of control or points on the board. Optic Gaming going to feel really comfortable after that game number 1. Now, as you rightfully say, that puts even more pressure on this pivotal game number 2 because they know how hard the battle will be in game number 3. It feels like their tournament life is riding on this game 2 StelluR, which is a hell of a lot of pressure to come into a game 2 with.
Yeah, but they win it. All of a sudden we got a series on our hands. All of a sudden SSG show us a little bit of life. And we might be talking about the series going a bit longer than initially anticipated with the game types that we do have. And I'm sure you'll talk about the game types now, because when we get to game 4 and 5, things start to favor not the green wall, but the boys who like being in space.
Yeah, it feels like the perfect time to talk about it. I talked to Lunchbox about Aqua CTF, which is game number 4, and even though they have the better record over SSG, he described it to me as a potential 50-50 with the way that that's played against SSG. Then that would send us into a StelluR Solitude, I believe, is the game number 5.
Yes.
And he was saying we sometimes 50-30 Shopify, and sometimes we drop that game to teams that we shouldn't. So, as you say, if we can get to the later stage of this series, there might be an opportunity for SSG to pull off some surprises. Let's take here a look at Lqgend and StelluR.
Yeah, interesting stats, right? You're looking at Lqgend, fantastic across the board. You can't really ask for much more of a player, a superstar like him. The other side of things, not great for one player who was hailed as the best in the game in that incredible SSG run last year where they won major after major, tournament after tournament. And this guy, oh, it's just doing things we hadn't seen before with a sniper rifle in his hands. But if you're looking at 0.88, that's not just negative, that's kind of worryingly on the negative side of a KD, which is, you know, what this player is built upon. You think about comparisons between Royal 2, always going to give you positive, always going to put those kills on the board and keep those deaths down. That was StelluR last season. We need to see that return.
I agree, and it feels like what Renegade was doing yesterday, if we think back to that Kali CTF, it started to kind of feel the same way where we can't even get a breath in before he hits the next double kill, right? It just felt like he's now the one putting on the sniping shows. He's the one which you just saw, case in point, going 21-5 on a championship Sunday. And it feels like Renegade and Optic Gaming have stolen that thunder. And of course, even you could say, of course, the current ranking and power ranking away from SSG. And I think that that stat card was such a good representation of what we're talking about for the SSG story this year right now, right? It's numbers you don't expect from them. It's placings you don't expect from them. And they themselves expect higher performances than we've seen. And there's only this single championship Sunday and the World Championship left in Halo Infinite for them to determine how they'll be remembered in this game, which feels honestly disproportionately unfair, right? They've done so much in this game, but recency bias will dictate how they are remembered in Halo Infinite. There is a lot riding on this series as well as the World Championship in just a few weeks.
Yeah, not just for the fans at home to believe that their team can go through and make it to a final and that they can lift a trophy at some point this season. I think for the team itself, You know, they have come up short time after time against the 3 teams who've been placing ahead of them, right? And it's been a consistent theme all season long, regardless of what the SSG lineup has been. You remember the turmoil they went through in the changes, the bad blood that was between them and the now FaZe players. It's been a very difficult season for them. And I think if they come into a series like this and it goes to a game 5, for example, it gives them a little bit of hope, right? Yeah. Even if they come out on the wrong side of it. But if it's a 3-0, how do you pick yourself up going into Worlds and genuinely believe within yourself, your teammates, and what you're doing preparation-wise, that you're going to be able to go to the biggest event of the year and win when it matters most?
Yeah, I agree. I think it will do so much for even just their scrim prep if they are able to put up a great fight here. Of course, let's not forget, it's only 1-0. There's a lot of Halo to play in this series, but I think at bare minimum for SSG, if they can put up a quality fight here against Optic Gaming, that will bode well. Or maybe they can surprise us even more and put some games on the board. It starts here with this game number 2.
And of course, plenty of awesome games coming up today as well. You've got FaZe and Shopify Rebellion waiting in that winners final. That's going to be quite the game, quite the matchup between those two. What an opportunity for both teams, by the way, in that winners bracket final. We know how huge of a series it is to go into the grand final with an advantage, of course, having that series in the back pocket should the first one not go your way. FaZe with the chance to maybe make a claim towards the end of the year, or Shopify with the chance to look to go back-to-back and certainly be favorites if they can do so, going into the World Champs.
Couldn't agree more. I think on that side of the stage, you've got just, right, it's going to go one of 2 ways, and either team that's able to take that, I mean, what a statement it would be for FaZe to take that series. More importantly, as you say, for the impact of the tournament, how that would change the bracket, but we now refocus back to our main stage. It is not only an ever important game number 2 Slayer Solitude, it feels like maybe the most important Slayer of SSG's season so far, up against Optic Gaming here in the elimination bracket.
A season swinging game for SSG. For Optic, a chance to really give themselves a huge step towards an elimination finals here, knowing that their favorite map mode combination is just around the corner. Spacestation needs to take this one. Optic been a bit shaky at times in the Slayers. Let's see if they've done that work overnight to change that. We're going into game number 2.
It's got to feel good for Optic Gaming to now have that cushion game, as you say. And now look forward to a game number 2 with game number 3. Oddball just around the corner. They can play with nothing to lose here. Start things off with Formal.
It's going to be Suppress who wins that battle. Renegade, surprise, surprise, gets his first kill of the game, but SSG find themselves 3 dead. And a 4-2 difference between the teams. So Optic winning the opening rush, and Bound is going to be rewarded here with the first camo of the game.
Let's see how Bound plays if they want to extend this lead, and Bound is one to waste no time. Here he comes on the snipe push.
Just baiting though, just turning attention away. It's a really important connection with the shock rifle, just to force Bound to have to back up from this position.
Wow.
But by doing so, he's just invited Renegade in. He's already got a double kill. Renegade with a triple kill!
Oh my goodness.
And Bound steals the over. Renegade is 6-0. Where are these statistics coming from?
Renegade is 6-0, tripling the score so far himself of SSG. And how about the way that Bound plays that camo? He just uses S3 as a jungle gym, puts himself in unnadable positions. They were even pre-nading every corner on the ground at S2. But guess what? He just comes in, and as you said, he's a nuisance. He deals damage, he sneaks around, he's a ghost, and they lead now 10-5, but a few kills do go in favor of SSG.
Yeah, Renegade lost alive momentarily, but he's got a shock rifle and he's got a thrust, so he's not going to be an easy kill whatsoever. Optic have managed to get back on the map. Falcated finds himself in the death screen quicker than he certainly would have liked there. A beautiful connection coming in from Renegade.
Look at the speed. Oh my. Look at the speed. There's only one player alive at Loop. I can't even talk about the kills faster than they happen. I think one player still bottom mid here, but the speed at which they took StelluR off of ledge there and immediately get the kill on Loop as well. Another kill comes in. It's 14-8, as you said. Renegade 8-0 to start the game 2 Slayer. This might be, we're going to have to check the stats, the most consistent a player has ever been game after game in leading their team in the kill category, and also the KD as well.
I think we just have to take, I know it's only a couple of minutes into game number 2 here, but this is really special, what we're seeing from Renegade. And if you think things couldn't go better for him, he summons a sticky that finds his target. He finds Eco. And it's going to be a killing trade.
And he doesn't even trade there to make sure the frenzy comes in clean. It will be SSG finding 3 dead. Formal's forced to retreat here on LR, but still, that's unbelievable for Renegade here to start 10-1. Suppress, though, does get away with a camo.
Just indescribable what Renegade is doing for Optic Gaming at the moment. But Suppress does have an opportunity here for SSG. After the whirlwind of Renegade at the start of this game, only 4 kills between the two teams. Shock Rifle's about to come up as well. And Optic are taking maybe a page out of the book of the Roman Empire here. Put the shields up and making sure that the bows ain't gonna hit.
Optic Gaming, the only team I think about every single day as much as the Roman Empire, if I'm honest here. 18-14, and it feels like with Renegade at 10-1, this game should not be a 4-kill game.
Camo's out. Optic do not take a single death during that camo, by the way. And surprise, surprise, who gets a kill? It's gonna be Renegade again. He's 11-1. 2 dead for Spacestation. The camo completely just useless
As
in
you
that
say,
situation.
it's a staggered 4 dead. Eco's trapped here in Cafe, and now 21-14. What a great job from Optic Gaming, and feels like a perfect time after they shut down that camo to get into a listen-in here with the Optic Gaming roster.
They might push me out, they might push me out.
Yeah, get out. Get out. Stay right there on my ping. Stay on my ping, I have you. I'm here, you're good. Sit there.
Shut up.
Bro, Bound, listen. He's gonna slide in, bro. Just get ready to punch him, okay?
No.
Just get ready to punch him.
Once you drop it down. What's about literally right to my left there?
We're not watching top gold.
Yo, listen, I have stickies. Yo, Bound. I'm gonna try to stick him, okay? Watch my push.
Alright.
Watch out, Bound. Back up. Don't overdo it. We're good. We're good.
What's the next round? Watch that.
I can push this.
You're good.
Weak check.
Nice.
Emo's in 20.
I'm
in your man.
I'm MS1 sub here.
Yo, control for camo. All for camo.
Watch
camo, guys. 10 seconds.
your desk.
Quick punch over.
Emo's
coming out, guys.
Watch the bucket.
First. Camo's up.
Pushing benches.
I'm camo.
Posters.
I spawn here.
We put back towards loop. Snake fight. Weak seller.
The peak. There's some in.
Dude, one
Watch
dead.
out.
Peek, last goes my peek.
Two over. 2 yard.
I'm here, Spring.
We can spawn them blue.
L1 try fell. L1 try fell. Skip.
I'm blockable.
2 yard. Go near bear. One's going near bear. Spawn this.
That was LR. Okay, come. It's like, yeah,
I'm hitting.
Come on, what give me? What's
Peek
last?
over here.
Somebody loop.
You're dead.
Quick stairs.
do that, guys.
That's fine. One benches.
One's quick stairs.
We still have camo.
Snake fight.
Camo's out soon, Zabri. Camo's out soon.
Check hotel.
S4 Falcated.
One's in spawn.
Dude, guys.
Yeah, serious. I can't shoot Zabri.
Watch that.
They push out Stellar. They push out Express.
3 dead.
Let's get Kevin. Probably Yard on you, John.
Yeah, you got it, I think.
Or it could be a back shrine. Let's spawn the best. I'm looped
Yeah,
up.
go yard.
Bear.
He's blue, Kevin.
They're all blue though. I'll get your powder. Yo, same thing, Bound. Same thing. I'll get your powder, okay?
There's certain things that you see, and you really struggle to kind of describe what you're experiencing. And there's 2 things that are happening right now for Optic Gaming at 37-22. One is Renegade. He's 20-2 with 38 kills for Optic Gaming. And the other is Lqgend is double positive at 6-3 with 13 assists.
This is unbelievable. And what was already a historic run yesterday is now history defining. Lqgend picks up another one on the killing spree. Renegade is more than 10x positive in this Slayer.
Renegade has Spacestation have 2 more kills than Renegade. It's just astronomical, this performance.
You and I were talking during the listen and shaking our heads in disbelief. We can already say this with confidence. We cannot remember a single player taking over a bracket the way that Renegade has done so far.
Oh!
And it's 43-27 here. 4 dead for Optic Gaming. It will give a chance for SSG to maybe avoid the steak dinner, but that really might be it.
Maybe the Slayer woes is starting to become a distant memory here for Optic Gaming. Eco's just trying to, I think, just try and make something happen here for SSG, but he's going to get traded out. It's an insurmountable mountain to climb here for Spacestation to get back into this one. Bounce still going to get damage in. Suppress gets the kill. Formal finds another one as well, and it's just 5 to go here for Optic. StelluR's got a camo, but even with kills falling here, this will have to be something that, I mean, blows our mind even more that we've already had for SSG to come back here.
Yeah, with 46 coming in, 46 kills on the board. There's the 47th. You just feel like, of course, it's too little too late. 3 to go for Optic Gaming.
Lqgend 11, 14, and 5. Renegade slowing down at 21 and 4. There's going to be one more to go here for Optic Gaming. The question is, who is it going to be? The win is almost guaranteed. Bound's going to challenge. Lqgend's going to get it. He finishes 12, 14, and 5 as Optic Gaming wipe the floor with SSG in Game 2.
This is something else. Just got to go ahead and say it. And by the way, Renegade's dad there loves what he's seeing. It's probably the best Halo he's ever seen his son play, and I think it's the best Halo we've ever seen Renegade play, which I cannot believe we're saying because the man has more unbelievable tournament runs than you can count, yet he's doing this. 22 and 5 on a championship Sunday, game after game. This is not normal. This is spectacular. And as I said, I fear of overusing the word, it is historic. What Renegade has done this weekend and what he continues to do in this series is unlike anything you or I have ever seen in decades of professional Halo. It's one thing to have some pop-off games here and there. This is every single game you and I have seen on the main stage. Renegade is putting up numbers like this. Double-digit kills and single-digit deaths. Unbelievable.
Yeah, to put it into context for people who are watching at home or here as well, we go to listen and usually we'll have a conversation about what we're seeing. We just stood there in stunned silence, like just watching what was happening in front of us. Because it's difficult to describe.
Yeah, thank God we have the visual. Because if you had to describe this to someone without this PGCR, without the gameplay,
they wouldn't believe you.
They would not believe it.
I mean, there's small moments as well, like when things are going well for you, things are going right, take yourself back to that stick, right? Renegade just tosses a stick out to a call out. It connects.
Yeah.
Those kind of things, those kind of moments, you know that you're in a certain kind of place as a player. And you're ascending to a certain kind of place as a player. When those small plays start to add up as well. And I've got to say, even in the listening as well, really impressed with Renegade. Bound, playing that corner, they get the first kill, and he says, hey, back it up. Yes. Back it up. We don't need to push it here. We don't need to make this a 1-for-1.
Yeah.
We've won here.
You're going to see it. Look at this. By the way, Renegade, don't give him a chance to shoot because he's going to hit the shot. This was I was so impressed with. They clear StelluR off of ledge before he can even drop dip, and they pick up the next few kills as well. This was the moment. The frenzy to open the game. At that point, he also had as many kills as all of SSG. And I also love, I agree, during the listen, and by the way, Lqgend played that scenario so well. He played this scenario so well as well. It was amazing camo control, and you and I talked about during the listen, and there's 2 favorite moments that I had. How about Renegade also IGLing from yard, saying, listen, let's hold the corner. I'm going to go for the stick. And the second they get the first pick, he goes, everyone back up. Do not overdo it. When you're winning a game by 20 and you still have the discipline to say don't overdo it, that is pretty special stuff.
Yeah, also, when I'm telling no, I'm running at you.
Yeah,
Because
exactly.
I'm indestructible in my own head. But Renegade knows this is a bigger picture. He still has respect for his opponents and what they can do and how tough it is to win a series here on a championship Sunday. But Optic find themselves now 1 game away from doing exactly that and booking their ticket to our elimination finals, where they will play one of FaZe Clan or Shopify Rebellion. SSG staring down the barrel of elimination once more here. And if you think things couldn't get much worse for SSG after the first 2 games, we're about to go to Optic's best game type.
Yeah, and I'm so impressed also with the comms across the entire team and just the way they played that game type. There's 2 things I want to talk about in power-up control because there have been concerns about Optic Gaming in terms of power-up control this weekend. You and I talked about it yesterday. They were losing quite a few power-ups in scenarios that they shouldn't have. Instead here, because of the damage that was being dealt by the entire team, there was 2 moments where Lqgend goes, I have camo by the way, which that tells you everything you need to know about the map control. When they're not setting up 15 seconds prior, they're just scooping camo as a freebie. And then about 40 seconds later, Lunch goes, by the way, we still have camo. Power-ups were an afterthought because of how much damage and kills were being recorded across the map.
Let's take a look at some of these stats here for Optic Gaming. We've been talking about how strong their oddball game has been. Well, here's the stats to back it up. The right-hand side of your screen. First record, only lost it once so far this season. Round wins, first. Everything else was first, down to the last one, which I think was KD. They were second.
Yes.
But it doesn't really matter if you win in every single game. Average round margin is insane.
And a round, by the way. So they are on average
it's a round
winning,
to 100.
Yeah, exactly. They're winning about 100 to 72.5 in that, excuse me, to 68.5 in those scenarios. Unbelievable. Got lucky there. I had to do some quick math. As you saw, Renegade, of course, unsurprisingly, leading the way in that game type as well. And it's, what a record. I would say, aside from the Quadrant Strongholds run, we haven't seen anyone this dominant in a specific game type since then.
I'm gonna say it's been a fascinating series here, and obviously we're talking about Renegade and kind of lauding what we're seeing because it is just, it's just special, right? But I think that this series and this performance coming off the back of the video that FaZe put together, kind of celebrating what we've had so far in Halo Infinite, celebrating the community. You see some of those big moments. It's amazing that even after all of that VOD has been put together and those moments picked out, you have someone like this doing this.
Yeah.
With Championship Sunday in front of us, with the World Championships in front of us. He's just dropped 21 kills in game number 1, 22 in game number 2. He's plus 16 in game 1, plus 17 in game 2. And that KD is vile. It's the only way I can describe it.
Most players do not end a tournament positive 33, let alone a series, let alone games 1 and 2.
It looks like it looks incorrect. Like 4.2. And
these are numbers that the kill death column should not be in the 4s.
4.2
should be in the 3s, and we freak out if the KD column is in the 2s, right? A 4.2 and a 4.4 in maps 1 and 2. The team here put it best. There's only one way to say it. This man is going nuclear, and he has unlocked, I mean, I'm not kidding, this is career-defining performance so far, right? There's a lot of Halo to play, and they still need to win this tournament if they want this tournament to be remembered in a special way and set them up for Worlds. But this is already a career-defining run from Renegade. It's taking over the story of what he's already done so far, which is an unbelievable run. This is already one of the best Halo players in the history of the game, and somehow he has picked the perfect time to turn up and put together performances that I'm going to struggle to even find in the statistics in the history books that even come close to what he's doing.
4.2 and 4.4.
Those numbers should not be there.
Picked it up a little bit in game 2 after slow game 1. Just ridiculous.
And what did we talk about yesterday? We talked about how every team going up against Optic in the elimination bracket, you have to try to shut down Renegade. As you can tell, we didn't even make that a key to victory for SSG because it doesn't seem like anyone is up to the task. And this is not a case, by the way, we've talked about players throughout history. Formal's one of them, the man on your screen. Lucid, of course, Renegade at times, where they have a pop-off Slayer that's triple positive, right? That's a big deal in a series. No. Every game that we've seen from him, starting with elimination round 1, until now, Snipedown maybe put it best on the desk. He says, I don't know why, but it seems like this team needs a kick, and they have to have their backs pinned against the wall with everything being threatened, their entire tournament life, their legacy being threatened, and then they start to put together special runs. And I dare say it, if you're just looking at the numbers compared to Arlington and DreamHack, this one's already more special.
Yeah, I would completely agree with you. We were looking back as, you know, Arlington as the event where Renegade dragged Optic through the elimination bracket. Well, I'm struggling to find the appropriate words to describe what he's done through the elimination bracket here. It has been, he has put Optic on his shoulders at times. He has almost just lit up the room with what he's been doing on the main stage.
It's not even backpacking, it's like juggernauting.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's everyone get in.
Blast proof.
Armored, it's an armored suit. This man is playing full heavy right now. And I mean, even, come on, to start the game with a frenzy?
Talon-O.
What's going on here? This is crazy. And I'm just excited to watch more.
Yeah, same. I want to get into game number 3. I want to see how this is going to play out. Maybe SSG are going to have something to say about this. So for all of the credit and all of the conversation about what's happening on that green side of the stage, you never know in Halo Infinite. One round can go one way, and Optic all of a sudden maybe starting to shake a little bit. But here we go then. Thank you for staying with us, everyone. Thank you for your patience. Optic Gaming up by 2 at the moment. SSG tournament life on the line as we head into live fire Opal.
And as we said, Optic Gaming 24-1 in oddball, 3-0 here in Charlotte, undefeated in the game type. Unsurprisingly, we're underway with the man everyone is rightfully talking about, mopping the floor on Camo side, of course. It's 3 of the 4 to start it. Eco's last player alive on Keydor. 4 dead for SSG, and it's another perfect opening for Optic Gaming.
Bound looking for some heads. He's going to get his chance to shine here with his sniper rifle in his hand. Also got a repulse, as Optic immediately have the odd ball in their hands. 12 points already on the board. QC going to be picked up here by Suppress, so he can be aggressive, knowing that he can back out. Look at the help arriving, though, to support Bound in that situation, and Legend's got himself another camo.
Really nicely done from Legend. He's one of the players that when he has camo, he does not wait too long. As soon as he realizes he's in an isolated engagement just like that, he will start to deal damage, and it shows.
No shields for Suppressed. A couple of stickies being tossed out, but again, Legend just making the most of this camo. A lot of players there may not show the experience or maybe the calmness in that situation, would over-challenge thinking that you've got that kill. But he knows he needs to make the most of this power-up, and by doing so, look at the continual damage that he's putting out.
By the way, important note that I want to talk about. You'll notice there's not going to be a lot of play balls in these game types. That's because Optic Gaming, one of their secrets to success on this game type is consistently holding the ball always at A. They do not want anything to do with the tower hold. So this will consistently be where Optic Gaming wants to hold. They want to apply the pressure. They want to make sure no one can play the ball. However, here they fall 3 dead. Renegade, last player alive.
Just a little bit of something to talk about here for SSG. Starting to pick up the slaying just a touch here. Suppressed has the ball in his hand. And off the back of the 4 dead, StelluR is trying to get aggressive onto spawners. And I think this is a good idea for SSG. Wow. Start putting the pressure onto Optic.
2 dead. You saw StelluR flew in there. He repulse jump just to try to also maybe upset some spawns. And in the end, they do get the upper hand. They keep 2 dead. And they get 13 points on the board.
They get that all on the map. That's the question. It is going to be sat down at green. It's going to be 3 dead again for Optic Gaming. And Renegade is last alive, and he has his shields broken as well. So Opal will now be picked up by SSG.
They want a tower hold here.
You can see where the spawns are coming in, like you say, so they want to move that ball towards tower.
They want to play the tower hold because it's even, if they know that they are maybe outskilled overall against Optic in this game, they want to have the luxury of the play ball. That's why Optic wants to make sure on the other side that they deny that. You're going to see a constant battle here. I wouldn't be surprised as soon as the green rotates happen and the spawns allow it, expect SSG to continue to look for that play and Optic Gaming to continue trying to shut it down. They play it immediately. Just like we said, they're going to look for those tower holds. They don't really want to play this mixy game here at tower.
Okay, a bit of a difficult kill here, but Renegade, probably the only player on the map right now who you can almost think in that situation is still going to secure it. Obo in a bit of a precarious spot here.
Immediately.
Renegade just gets it off the map, like you say, and spots out Suppressed. Camo dealt with. SSG can't put that one to use.
This is what Optic's going to say. They're like, hey, you want to hold this ball out here? We don't think so. Every time we get an opportunity, we're going to be tossing this thing off the map. And as a result, even though we just saw SSG with a decent amount of control, of course, Bound hits both. Oh, no. That would have been something. But every time you see that ball pulled, Optic's going to say, you're going to play our game. And guess what? Even though SSG did put up some decent slaying numbers just now and decent rounds of control and a full A-hold into green into an attempted rotate, Optic's still leading.
Very low scoring round, though, between the two teams. I think no one's really been able to get the consistent 2, 3, 4 deads. I think it's just a testament to how close the two teams are when it comes to when they're a 4v4 scenario with 4 guns up. Optic seem to have the advantage, but you know, you take gun out of that when you're holding the oddball. It's a very different scenario here, and SSG are being able to just pick away a few kills here.
SSG maybe going to opt based on the rotation from Suppress. They're going to try to hold the ball at A as well. 3 dead though. Suppress is your last player alive. It's going to be a pull. It's going to be a rat tunnel rotate. Suppress doing well to hold his own.
A bit of a hard scope on the key door. Doesn't connect this time around. Form was going to chase him down to neutralize that sniper rifle and the use of the power weapon. Bound is trying to find the kill onto StelluR. And that's going to be 4 dead here for SSG. Ball straight in the hands of Optic again.
By the way, we do have to mention, overall, they have, for the first time, Renegade does not have a 4+ KD. He's only 9 and 7, so Optic Gaming, despite leading, SSG has shut that man down for the first and only time this series so far, but still, even with that, it has not necessarily translated on the scoreboard because Renegade is most kills on the team and now leads the team in objective as well. So even though we might say he has lesser numbers in the KD column, he's still taking over the game, folks.
Saying to the rest of Optic, you guys want to get some kills? I'll hold this thing for a little bit.
I'm done with the kills for now. I got 10. You guys?
60-16 the score. The last time we checked in, it was a low-scoring round with both teams kind of a few points away from each other, but now Optic has just started to pull it away once again. Bound's going to be sat on that camo. 2 dead for SSG once more, and Bound will get the second camo in a row here for Optic Gaming. And look at this transitional hold.
Exactly.
Legend is holding it between the spawners of Optic and forcing SSG to split their resources where he could just pick them off.
It's a great point, and exactly what I was thinking. 3 dead. That is not about to be a rotate to tower. That's exactly as you described it. That's a transitional hold to be obnoxious and hold the ball right between Keydor and Cuts while they grab the camo. And it's still working for them. They're still scoring here at 80-16. They finally rotated.
Around 15 points left for Optic to go up by 1 hit. Pop. There's one for Bound. Another player going to be challenging top middle, but changes his attention to the player that he's got to call out for weak over at Nest. Can't find that. Legend trying to hold on for the last few seconds. Renegade is there to support him as well, but Eco at least makes this one a little bit dicey, but Optic formal man, as he's known on the top right-hand side of your screen, is going to be there to hold that up ball for the last few moments, and Optic are up by 1.
And like you said, before we could even really finish a sentence about how the game was low scoring, Optic Gaming, they take over. And when we last checked in, Renegade was +2. Guess what? Now he's +5. You give that man a second, and I mean, look at the late game. He goes +5, still leads the game in objective time with around 4x any of the objective time as anyone on SSG. It continues here for Optic Gaming. They are looking so good on Championship Sunday, now 1 round away from closing out the game 3-0.
The routes that Renegade is taking at the moment, it's something that we need to highlight as well. The amount of times that someone's not looking at him when he's getting that first shot, that's just great map movement. That's awareness of spawn, that's awareness of what can be expected and your timing of where players are going to be looking. Finally, he is going to be taken down, and StelluR has a chance to maybe give us a glimmer of what we can expect from him with this S7 in his hands, and with the camo to go alongside it as well. Opball is down. Looks like SSG are trying to move it towards the location of StelluR.
Ball dropped.
Bound should be taken, I was going to say down, but the QT away is going to save him for now.
Looks like StelluR has an idea of where Bound has QT too. A little 1v1 here. Now you see him, now you don't.
Yeah, Bound pulling out all sorts of magic tricks just to stay alive here, and he was the last alive for Optic Gaming for a few moments there. SSG finding a little bit of consistency in the kills. Formal not going to enjoy that moment very much as a camoed StelluR flew through the air with that sniper rifle and delivered a bullet straight to the cranium.
2v2 for just a second. Notice how Optic loves this. Ball's down at scoreboard, and guess what? SSG has to fight. Optic Gaming gets the spawns they want at Big Door as well as Keydor. Kills being exchanged, but this is what I mean about Optic's strategy. They're going to leave that ball at scoreboard. Now they're going to continue scoring, and they're going to get their spawners at Big. They're going to get their spawners at back A. They don't have to fight across the entire map. There's no risk of play ball. That's why this has worked so well, and even though we just saw SSG with a decent 20-point lead to start, that lead has been reduced now to just 4 points.
Last player alive is going to be Formal here. Throws that Opball out towards where the support from his spawners is coming in, and now Formal, who was last alive, contributes to 2 different battles.
Ball dropped. Enemy has the ball.
The Optic Gaming will essentially trade out in that situation to keep this a little bit dicey. SSG are wrapping that ball away from Bound and the rest of Optic, however, towards the tower. And we'll have a slender lead here, 29-16 the score.
See if SSG can keep this up. So far, it's the best they've looked in this series so far, still doubling their opponent's score just in this round. Falcated doesn't get the play, which means he thinks he has enough support where they're going to fight out this battle.
I mean, statistically for Spacestation, there's not a lot between the 2 teams when it comes to slays. Suppressed is +3 with 31 seconds of objective time. Eco, he's +2. Fal and StelluR only slightly in the negative at the moment, but going blow for blow when it comes to the slays. Ooh. The Legend with another camo. Just has another opportunity to run around the map, just untamed and just finding kill after kill. There's 2. The triple was always going to land.
Uh-oh.
And now he wants that S7. He was thinking overkill.
He was thinking about sliding into it, but the discipline comes in yet again. He's going to be patient, and he's going to get the snipe, and this is why he's one of the best players in the world. Even when Optic Gaming is leading, we've seen it time and time again. In this series, they are patient, they are not overzealous, and this is the reason they're playing the way they are right now. Finally, the ball will be played. Optic Gaming happy to go with a little bit of tower hold for just a moment. They fall 3 dead, but now they're up 49-33.
She with a momentary lead in the round, and again, you blink, and all of a sudden Optic are back in control. Falcated has found himself a sniper rifle, though. A little bit of ammo to work with, doesn't quite connect with Bound. It's been such a nuisance in and around the pillars. The movement there, just to continually jiggle peek and not give a clear shot to Val, and then to come back out, challenge, having done the damage. Brilliant, brilliant positioning from Bound in that individual fight. Optic find themselves 2 dead, but so do SSG. Ball will be down.
By the way, for the first time in this series, which is crazy to say, Renegade is not leading in the game in kills, tied with Eco and Suppress, now leading in the entire game. So for the first time, as we're about to maybe see a lead change, we're tied right around the 50-point mark. Yes, indeed, it will be a lead change. SSG will take the lead in the round. And some Slayers on SSG starting to wake up. Is it too late, or can they get a round on the board?
The thing to keep in mind is if you can take a round on Optic's best game time, it gives you an opportunity maybe to think about stealing their best. That gives you so much belief, but as soon as you start to talk about belief,
no play ball.
Optic put you 4 dead. They've got the oddball back in their hands, and they will be going back into a lead here.
Even when you're playing the tower setup, Optic doesn't even let you have the play ball, which is pretty remarkable. That ball can't even slip off mud. And now, just like that, Optic will retake the lead at the 63-point mark. And now it'll be all about SSG needing the push. They do get the first pick. Here they come.
Enemy has the ball.
We're trying to put that ball in a position where SSG are going to have to commit to it. 2 dead though. On the Optic side, a couple of kills going the way of Spacestation once more. StelluR is going to try and move towards this camo, knowing that they've got the numbers. Last Alive is going to be bound here, so he should be able to snag this with the spawners from Optic. Putting pressure on, and Bound does a great job to do everything he needed to do in that situation. Stop StelluR getting away with that power.
Also note what we just saw from these two teams. We'll see if SSG can come away with this. There's still a lot of fighting happening from bottom middle. Going to be a 3v3 for a moment. They're going to have to drop and shoot. Notice how different that was. SSG's holding tower, they don't get the play ball. Optic is pressured, they go mud, immediately they get the play ball, and as a result, they still lead by 12. Really, really different execution that we just saw from these two teams, and now guess what? They're going to take the ball back home. Here they come.
Legend with the ball in his hands is also leading in the Slays department here for Optic Gaming. 20 and 16 with most assists for Optic 2.
Same transitional setup, by the way.
Enemy team nearing
StelluR won't be able to get away. Damage done and converted here by Optic. It's a 2v2. Legend continues to hold the ball, by the way, just ticking up that time and moving it now 10 points away from Optic 3-0ing.
Going to just play it there. Nice little repulse as well to play that ball right around the camo. And as you said, 8 points away from a 3-0 in the series.
Feels like not even a playboy. It feels like a catch. Throwing that one towards spawning teammates, saying, I can do this damage. You get close to me. And then we grab this oddball. StelluR last alive here. Don't think he's going to be able to do anything. Formal, alongside Renegade, will hold this oddball. We'll close it out as Optic Gaming sweep Space Station and book their spot in the Elimination Finals.
What a performance from them all series long, and even though we saw SSG maybe put up a little bit of a fight in that second round of ball, it was Optic Gaming showing that not only are they controlling the map in the slaying category in terms of overall map control, but strategically, they are running their game. They're going for the A-holds. The transitional setup was devastating time and time again against SSG, and it's a clean 3-0 win for Optic Gaming. They close out that game 200-73 across the 2 rounds. And everyone on Optic Gaming essentially at the 20 kill mark. 20 for Renegade, 20 for Legend, 19 for Formal, and 20 for Bound. These guys were in lockstep with one another throughout the entirety of the game.
And I hate to do this to Formal, by the way, but I just need to... Some of the statistics we've been talking about have just been so absurd throughout this series. Winning game number 1 with 1 kill in King of the Hill, one of the most iconic.
Yes.
One of the most iconic stat lines from the entire series and tournament. 200-73 in total score across the 2 rounds, but 2 rounds to 0 was that oddball live fight, and they just look just different class on that game type and that map mode combination. Absolutely ridiculous stuff from Optic, and looking like, hey, dare we say it, championship form once again. A long way to go, of course, for Optic. They're still going to go through the elimination bracket finals to book a spot in that grand final, but I'll tell you what, you'd be a brave man to bet against it at the moment.
You really would. I'm amazed at what I'm seeing. I think everyone was ready for Optic Gaming to show up in a huge way here. This is, as you describe it perfectly, money season for Halo Infinite. It is not just about, and even the cash prize, it's about legacy here, right? How are you remembered in Halo Infinite? A lot on the line, and I think Optic Gaming has showed up in a way that it has even blown away, I think, anyone's highest expectations, right? Questions about them. They get 3-0'd by Mindfreak. Excuse me, they go to Game 5 with Mindfreak, lose that series in an unforgettable match. But as we said, if they put together an elimination run, the story will only be about what they do here. And now they look even better somehow on Championship Sunday than they did in day number 2.
Yeah, it's fascinating, isn't it? I mean, that will become a footnote. That will be forgotten about completely if Optic keep this trajectory and keep this momentum going in these iconic stat lines that we're seeing coming out of some of the players, the Renegade especially. And it's just unbelievable to see him performing, to see him doing what he's done on that main stage. And we're actually lucky enough to hear from the man himself. Renegade is on our main stage with Blaze. Renegade, what a series.